Hello, so my name's Michael Conneely, and this video is about the Saturn Retrograde period. How should we understand the journey of our life at the time that Saturn is retrograde in the heavens? It's a very important point, and I hope this video will help in perception, in handling of the period. And this particular video is filmed actually at the time of the Saturn retrograde around September 2023. So part of this video and blog post isn't just general, it uses the present Saturn retrograde as an example. So the fact is that the Saturn energy is Saturn as Lord of Karma, Lord of Reaping. This video and blog post tells you how to understand any Saturn retrograde period. Now, in the particular period of the present time, Saturn starts September 23, retrograde at 9 Aquarius in Shatabhishak Nakshatra. Saturn actually turned retrograde at 13 Aquarius on the 17th of June. But Saturn now transits retrograde from 9 degrees to 7 degrees Aquarius in September. But Saturn will turn direct at 6 Aquarius on the 4th of November. Now, when Saturn is retrograde, we have to obey his imperatives to complete business that is left unfinished in our life, to tie up unfinished loose ends, to declutter, to get sound, to honour Saturn's karmic demands. And it's often very useful to keep asking yourself, what am I carrying now? And then we answer that, by voicing our present concerns and duties and ambitions. But then ask that question again. What am I carrying now? And this repeated questioning helps us deal most fully with Saturn retrograde. It carries us back to our incarnational life purpose, the karmas our soul chose to work with this time. It carries us back indeed to our past life issues and our ancestral issues that we inescapably have to deal with. What am I carrying now? Also, check out what planets in your birth chart does Saturn cast an aspect to. Do you know the meaning of your natal Saturn conjunct Venus or whatever it is? Also, check out what planets in your birth chart does transiting Saturn cast an aspect to. Do you know the meaning and helpful guidance if Saturn is transiting opposition your Sun now, for example? And certainly, with Saturn transiting in Aquarius at the present time, for example, check out what house in your Vedic birth chart is Aquarius, because each house is a life area. So in my case, it's the 8th house, about essentially death and rebirth time and the occult. And realise that Saturn will especially be laying down his karmic imperatives to you in the life area that is the sign he's transiting through, the house in your birth chart he's transiting through at the time of the retrograde. And the next most important point to be aware of is Sade Sate. Sade Sate is the 7.5-year period where Saturn transits through the sign before your natal moon, the sign of your natal moon and the sign after your natal moon. So in the case of the present day, if you have your natal moon in Capricorn, Aquarius or Pisces, because Saturn's transiting Aquarius now, then you'll be in Sade Sate. And absolutely do get a reading from me to study and understand your Sade Sate experience. Sade Sate, I am in my third now, is essentially like going down into a pit and rising up out again. You see, we start off Sade Sate with limitation on our understanding of who we are and what our life path is. Maybe we're brought up completely wrongly and just don't have a clue about these things. But when we start Sade Sate, things fall apart if they're based on such unsound foundations. We are forced to try and perceive the spiritual learning in the breakdowns, in the endings, to reassess who we are. And astrology can be such great help in that, including information from, past lives and karmic scripts. And out of that period of going down into the pit and improving in our accuracy of perception and insight, we then rise up again as Sade Sate completes. It's a big, big, big important time. And as I said, do get a reading from me if this applies to you. Now the truth is that Saturn was originally an agricultural deity. And if we obey his karmic imperatives in our life, whatever they specifically are, then we will reap a golden harvest. So it's so important to realize as we go through the experiences of a Saturn retrograde that we should pay attention to where our true abilities really lie, what they truly are. And so maybe alter our plans and priorities and replan our path accordingly at this time of Saturn retrograde. Sacrifice might well be involved, all the business about the utter need to tie up loose ends and finish unfinished business now, and from much earlier in our life and from past lives. Sacrifice is involved. Saturn retrograde is always a death and rebirth time. But if you truly embrace it honestly and with deep perception, this way you'll find your personal power and standing, and how you envision yourself as you really are can be used so positively to plan your forward life path now. And note, of course, in this sound and thorough Saturnian way, you'll likely find you're much more than you realise, much more than you envisioned. And recognise that much of the unfoldment of Saturn in your life is to do with your fates that you carry in this life, with their unfoldment and their healing. It's all about our incarnational life purpose, and it takes a long time to fully realise that. And my astrology readings can certainly deeply help us understand our karmic life scripts. I combine Western and Vedic astrology. I bring, for example, the wonders of Chiron and Lilith into the wonders of the divisional charts, the Varga charts of Vedic astrology, each of which says wonderful things about specific areas of our life. So viewing your Saturn retrograde situation and experiences from this higher perspective will allow you to find the positive side, the keys to the new you. So if you're in Saturn retrograde, it's time to make a very important judgment, to make very important promises to yourself, and then you will have the world. So you can get a reading from me on my Star Wheel Astrology website, do see my Star Wheel Astrology blog. See the wonderful videos and blogs being published at this time about September 2023 astrology. I think it'll amount to 10 videos for September, and I hope what I've tried to share will make the Saturn retrograde experience a thing to be so proud of and satisfied with. So do get a reading from me. Thank you.